We are going live. Yay. Yay, 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 yay. Okay, we are live with our children's book cohort group. So if you guys have joined Writer's Roadmap, after Writer's Roadmap, we give you 1 month of a free cohort, 30 days. And this group is our children's book cohort, and they have continued, and a lot of them have been in it for months now. And so we just wanted to ask them some questions about how it's been, what's been happening in their world with their books. And this is like amazing because all of you guys are going on to publishing. So we are excited. And Lynn, you are the next up on the docket, and we're super thrilled about that as well. So I would love to find out a little bit more about your book. Let's start with Irene. Irene, you want to tell us a little bit about your experience with Square Tree, about writing your book? I love the inside of your book and the rhyming that you have, and you were one of those books that made me cry.
Thank you. My story was downloaded from the Lord. I had huge imposter syndrome, and then I overcame that by deciding, well, if God downloaded it for me, he's not an imposter, so therefore I must write my book. So I did, and I wrote it, and it was all these words came flowing through me 30 years ago after I was miraculously healed from postpartum depression. And part of the poem was, "Now is not the time yet." So after 30 years had passed, I retired from healthcare, and the Lord says, "Now's the time. You're going to write a children's book." And I went, "Me?" I couldn't believe it. So I wrote the book. I joined Square Tree's Calling Out the Book Challenge for children's authors. And I wrote a book, and I figured, well, it's done. And that's why you have a roadmap. And that's why you join a cohort, because we all support each other. And just like Proverbs, you seek wise counsel, and that's where Melody comes in. And my cohorts, Marlena, MJ, Lynn, we supported each other. We read our words and we went, "Oh, that doesn't sound quite right. Let's try that. Let's try that. Let's try that." And then finally, it's just a process. And then finally, you get your final product, and it just comes out. And it was like, yes. And the Lord approves it. And that's the way it goes. And I would just say, it's like we're sitting on the rock, and we've got our support, just like Moses had his aides holding his hands up, just like Gus Racino was talking about the VIP challenge. And we've got community, and that's what I love about the cohort. And my book is called The Magnificent Artist, and it's I'm getting the proof on Monday, so praise the Lord. It's I can hardly wait.
I'm so excited for you. I would love for you, I mean, the book, not to say the whole book, but if you could just do the first few stanzas so that they have an idea of what your book is about, I would love that.
All right. Once there was a magnificent artist who loved creating many things, big things, small things, wiggly things, waggly things, absolutely everything. He used brilliant colors to create creatures that could fly, creatures that could sing, creatures that could crawl, and even swim, offering more color and freedom to all who would ask, for he loved them so much. This was an easy task.
I love it. I love it. I love the way that it just came out. I always say you're like the Christian Dr. Seuss. I love it. I love it. So what has your experience been like, or how has God stretched you in this process? Like what's some of that, you said imposter syndrome, but what are some things that you feel like God really has been stretching you on lately as an author and healing you?
Well, healing me. I didn't think I was an author. Like, Lord, you can't be using me. Like, no, that's, can't be. And I'm not trained as an author. I'm, I'm not trained as a writer. I'm trained as a healthcare provider. I'm trained as a preschool teacher. But I love to tell stories, and I'm quite good at it. So the Lord said, well, yes, you are. And are you going to believe my words or not? And I stopped listening to lies. And this story is actually a journey of me, actually. One of the creatures is me. And how she felt so totally broken. And she cried out to the Lord, her creator. And he said, just stay with me. I will teach you how to fly. I will teach you. Just stay with me. I'll give you wings. And this is where he gave me wings. And the other creature is actually my husband. It's actually a little diddly about our marriage journey. So we fly off in the distance at the end, just reminding all the creatures to remember the artist. He wants his soul to be free.
I love it. I again, you were one of those that just made me cry. Like I just love just, I don't know, just the way that the sing-songiness of it, but not too rhymey, if that makes sense. Like I can't articulate it, but it's not so rhymey that it's so trite, but it just flows so well. I just love it. So thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So Marlena, you have like how many now? 5 million book ideas and and a business. So this is how Marlena can talk to what she's going to be doing with her book and her business. And so you want to talk about give them a frame of reference of what your business is and what you're working on.
Okay, so I started a business almost 2 years ago, and it's called It Starts with a Drawer. And my passion is to teach women how to clean and organize their homes so that they feel like they have the freedom to do the things that they love to do, as most people don't love cleaning their homes. So if you can get it done in small increments and doing it with some joy in your heart and having fun with it, then it's a lot easier to have it just out of the way so that you can enjoy your family and enjoy the things that you do. So last June, I saw the Calling Out the Book Challenge for children's books, and it had never occurred to me to write a children's book. I was supposed to be writing this book on the tips and things like that on what to do to clean your house. And I thought, what a boring book, but okay, we're going to do this. And I realized that when I call myself boring, that I stop having fun doing the things that I'm really good at. And all of a sudden, one day this popped up and I thought, I need to do that. That's weird. I don't know why. And it occurred to me about halfway in that one of my dreams as a child was to write children's books, but it wasn't something that had come up for years and years and years. That was something I'd thought about in the 5th grade. And God was really bringing me back to all of my dreams, all of the things that were really important to me when I was very young that had gone away just for circumstance, becoming a mother, becoming a wife, going to college to sing, doing the things that are amazing and wonderful, but not all of those were childhood. And he was bringing me back to the way he had made me, the way he had created me. And it's so funny, to think that you could be created to teach people how to clean their toilet, but I guess it's what I'm really good at. So that's what I do. So I started writing on a learns to clean her room. And God really pressed on me that I needed to speak to women who had children. And by doing so, I could reach out to their children. And one of the things that he's always put inside of me is a love for the children of the women who are close to me. I'm not the person who's going to go work in the nursery at church. I'm not the one who teaches Sunday school. But when women come to me and God shows me their heart, I can in turn love their children like nobody else can. And he just really pressed on me that that's who I needed to be writing for. And over the course of 5, I think it's been 5 challenges, he's really honed all of that in for me. And my niche group is homeschool moms who are at home with their children all day. And I have clues on how to keep up on the day-to-day and stuff like that. But one of those keys is using your kids and helping them learn key skills that help them in their everyday life as well. So I think it was in the 3rd challenge that God really impressed on me that I needed to write a series. And he downloaded to me 22 titles at that time. I think I'm
just a little overachiever there.
just a little bit. And
Can't
I
relate.
thought that was really funny because he was really impressing on me that I always overdo everything. And then he goes and downloads 22 titles that I was like, seriously? And I'm up to 25 titles after this challenge. And he also impressed on me in the last challenge that I really needed to focus on getting these done because there's a possibility that this could turn into a children's TV series, which is just way beyond me, beyond anything that I could have ever thought of, beyond anything that I was dreaming. And so I'm excited. This is bigger than me. It's all God, and I got to give him literally all the credit for it. So God's really good at making sure that I have the story when I'm ready to write. And I'm on my 4th book, finishing editing my 3rd, started my 4th. And he promised me last month that if I wrote 5 more books in addition to the 1st, he would provide the funds for all of my publishing. So I'm holding him to this promise, and he's not allowed to walk away from me. And as he's never has. So, that it is what it is. This is my year of recompense. It was interesting. I've heard this 3 times this week from other leaders, and from my Bible study to the challenge. And this is my year of recompense. And in the middle of it, I've had a lot of money given back to us. We've been reunited with Mike's family. I have been reunited with people in my life that I will hope to speak of very, very soon. And then there has been healing in not only in my body, but also in my my breakthrough. And doing the author breakthrough with Amanda has been tremendous. So I get a lot out of Square Tree, probably more than most. And Cohorts is my biggest, it's my biggest, most favorite thing in my life right now. If it wasn't for these 4 women that I spend an hour with every week, I wouldn't get my writing done. If it wasn't for the fact that I could call on them to pray for me when I'm hurting the most, I don't know what I would do in those moments. But we've created such a bond in this group. Beautiful, beautiful women that I get to watch every single week and spend my heart with. They touch my soul on a level that nobody else can. And I am incredibly grateful for the blessing that they've been in my life. This week, they prayed for me 3 times because I was in so much pain before the challenges hit. And when we prayed the last time, it took me through the rest of the week and I didn't have any more pain. they God's bringing so much healing into my life on every single level. And I heard him say once that God can't take you to heaven unless he's healed you from everything that you've gone through. And I've been holding God's feet to the fire on that and making sure that he's been bringing healing through every avenue in my life. And if it wasn't for the praying women that I see every single week, I know how big of a part they are in this. And I am so incredibly grateful for this group that I get to be a part of.
I love it. I love every part.
And I just like to chime in because something that Marlena said about this group. You think you're signing up for the cohorts because, well, I'm going to give you some advice or whatever, but you're really signing up with connections of people.
Yes.
But seriously, the skills that Marlena has that she brings to the group have helped every single person in here. The tech skills, the business skills, everyone is bringing something. And when we bring that to the group, this group just is leveled up to something that I couldn't just give by myself. So you just get so much more. And that each one of these ladies has given something that, gosh, we just couldn't do without. We've all been touched, each one of us. I have been personally touched. I walk away each week also feeling encouraged, laughing, smiling, feeling like I'm doing something in this world too. So it's just not a one person show here. It is a group thing. And I appreciate you ladies so very much. I look forward to our cohort each week.
So Marlena, we have to share. So if I can find pictures, I'm going to be sharing your stuff. So this is Anna, of what I've got with Anna. So this is actually modeled after Anna, right? So this
Yeah, my granddaughter is Anna.
Anna.
Sorry, Anna.
Yeah, no, it's okay. These are pictures modeled after pictures I sent to Caitlin to draw for me.
Awesome. And then I've got this one as well where you storyboard it. So for those that are writing children's books, the illustrator will storyboard this out. We talked about storyboarding this week. And so this is kind of storyboarding it out before they dig in deep into the pictures. They want to make sure that they've captured the concept well first.
And all three of my cohorts books, their titles are going into Anna's room.
Oh, I love it. So those are what I call Easter eggs. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's their three books are in there. And then you'll notice there's a lizard on every page. And that little pink lizard on the other picture that you were showing of Anna, that is Bubbles at the bottom. Bubbles is hidden on every single page as a seek and find for the child to stay busy while the mom is reading. And then at the end,
wait, you got to put that. I know Amanda's putting comments in. That's a good idea.
Yeah, so it's a seek and find for the child to stay busy looking for Bubbles while the parent is reading the story.
Love it.
And then the last thing that I'm doing is at the very end of the book is a code that you can take back to my website. If you've bought the book, you can take the code back to my website and print your own list for your child so that they know the steps to clean their room.
And I love that. And that's what we call lead gen. And we're going to be talking about that in our marketing session. So anybody that signs up by midnight tonight, we're going to be doing that marketing session. And we're going to be working on our, what we call lead gens, of how you can get people to give you their email address and come out of the book and into your world. So we're definitely going to be talking about that. One other thing that I'd like to ask you about, Marlena, because I know a little bit of the story, is your husband was so taken back by all of the money that was just coming into you out of nowhere that he started writing it down on what, like a yellow pad or something?
Yeah, he had a big yellow pad and it's about 2 pages long of all of the things that God has been returning to us, from money to family members to all kinds of things. So yeah, he's been keeping track of things as we go.
I love it. I love it. So he's totally provided for you the whole way, but you had to take that first step, like we talked about.
Yeah, you can see when the provision stops is usually when I have taken control over, when I'm worried or anxious about the process. And then that financial piece will stop until I'm ready to give it back to the Lord. And that was something we talked about a little bit this week. In the challenge was not giving our money a seat at the table, making sure that the money's not deciding for us. So every time I take hold of that, the money, it stops and it just doesn't come in for a long time. But every time I say, you know, God, you've called me to this. You're the one that's making sure that this is happening. How do you want this to go next? Then suddenly something else comes about, and it's not always money. So sometimes it's, I had Mike's sister called me and asked me if we could do a family reunion here in our new home. And I said yes, but we haven't been invited to that for years. And so it, you know, bringing that kind of relationship back into the fold is really big deal for our family. You know, there's something else I want to talk about so badly and I can't right now. I'm so sorry. But then there's, you know, we've gotten money from bizarre places. Oh, overpayment on your car insurance. No, we didn't. Mike never overpays on anything. And he was like, okay, so he put it in the bank account, you know. There was another check we got from somewhere for buying the house. Overpayment on something when you put your down payment on the house. How do you overpay on your down payment? You know, like, okay, so Mike put it in the bank, you know, and
just put it in the bank.
it added up to about 2/3 of the cost of my book, and so far. So I mean, you know, if God can pay for, you know, a children's book to be published, why can't he pay for 25 of them to be published? If he can't pay for 25 books to be published in my series, why can't he pay for, you know, a children's series on TV? I mean, God's bigger, and that's the one thing he's impressed on me the most in the last month and a half. God is bigger than everything that we can encounter. He's not only bigger than me, he's not only bigger than my house, he's not only bigger than my family, but he's bigger than anything that wants to come against me, and he's bigger than anything that is for me. And so if God is for me, nothing can come against me, and I have to stand on the word of God and know that I know that I know that I know that when he makes me a promise of recompense, and he says that it is over everything in my life, that it is over everything in my life. And I hope next month to tell you this big, huge secret that I have. But there are big things happening in the world. And it's not just the talk show host on TV. It's not just that music person who says that he now knows the Lord. It's bigger than all of us, but we are so important to his heart that he wants to use each one of us in the way that he made us. And you can't put that aside and throw it away, because if you do, you're missing out on every blessing that God has for you. And I'll be doggoned if I'm missing out on any more blessings in my life. It's been too long.
It's almost like you get to the point where, like, once he shows up in that way, there's no going back.
There isn't.
It's like your eyes are now open, like before
Yeah.
they were closed, and now
Yeah.
you've got this revelation and you can see. And once you can see, there's no going back.
It's
There's
true.
no going back.
Yeah. And you try. I think that
You try.
it's so comfortable to be miserable. It's they say that the easiest muscles are to smile. That is not true. I don't know who came up with that, but it's easier to be miserable. It's easier to be sad, disappointed, frustrated, irritable. It's really easy to be those things, but that's not what God wants for us. And when you see the joy that bubbles up inside of somebody, it makes you so happy. When you see somebody smiling at a stop sign, it it lifts up your day in a way that you didn't expect to happen that day. When you put yourself out there in this form that you didn't expect to happen, it's bigger than you. And then you start to realize, wait a minute, I played just this tiny little part. But I thought about that vision, Sherry, of all the books that stair step to heaven. And I looked at my book and I went, it's so thin. And I thought, how could that be a step? And God goes, there's 25 of those. Why are you worried about it? And I was like, I guess I'm not worried about it. Okay, well, then I'll just sit back and let you step on my little book on the way up to heaven. And how beautiful is that we all four of us have a piece of that vision, a piece of that pie,
I love it. I love it. So Melody, can you talk about that vision that you had? Because she referenced it and I would love, because it came from you and what God had like downloaded for you. And I would, because I think it's for all the authors.
Yeah, and if you know me, that's not normal for me. I'm one of those people, like, I don't have dreams. I go to bed, that's it. I mean, I might think of words. I'm a words kind of person, but as far as actually having a snapshot or a colorful vision, and this was very colorful, I could clearly see the scene. I just pray for the cohorts. And lots of times when I'm exercising, walking, running, whatever, that's my time, because I quote scripture, I pray for the different groups. And so I was doing that one day and I just saw this little room, and it looked like kind of a library-ish kind of room, but very, very small. And it was a little corner area, and there were all these books, and it had to do with the children's authors group, this group right here, the books they were all writing. And I saw them, and I saw these books in there, and I noticed that they were being stacked upon one another. As Marlena was one of the first ones to get hers finished, and then we saw Irene and MJ. I saw them starting to stack upon one another. And as I saw this, there was a small child, or it could represent just about anybody, but they were in a smaller form, so I couldn't clearly see them. But they stood up on it like stairs. They walked up on the top of the books, the pile of books, and there was a large like window or open area above this library. And they put their hand out like this, and they looked all around. And I felt like God said that each one of these authors, their books, maybe in themselves, they don't reach a gazillion people, but as they each write them and they stack on one another, they become a stairway to where people in the world could rise up on that stairway, look out and see what God is doing on this planet, see the glory of God. And so I had shared it with these ladies to say, each one of your books is important. It's not like, okay, you got yours done first, you got a million of them, I'm way over here. That all of them together also form something that the world will see God's glory. We're enabling them to do that. You're enabling them to see God's glory on this planet, what God is doing.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. That was just such a really good, awesome, vivid picture that you got. So
that was God.
It was a good one. Lynn, I'd love to talk to you about your journey and your story. And I just want to start by saying that I just honor you. Of everybody that's in all the cohorts. So we've got a lot of cohorts. They're all small. And we're coming up with some things to make some activities to put all the cohorts together to make them bigger, but and to help each other. But of all the cohorts, I just want to honor you for being the most faithful. I know that you've been on this health journey. You've been through a lot. You've been in the hospital quite a bit, even in ICU and intensive care. And even when you're in the hospital, you still show up to your cohort. And I just want to honor you for your faithfulness, for always showing up.
Yeah, I always joke she has the golden star of attendance, because I don't think Lynn has missed one. In fact, we've had a separate one before just to touch base when everybody was on vacation. So she's actually been in the cohorts more faithfully through everything than I think anyone in all of my cohorts.
Lynn, we can't hear you though.
I'm sorry. Talking about being faithful and I can't get my mute off.
Oh, and now we are. We're good.
Okay. Yes, but what they don't understand is
let me try to do this without baby. That weekly cohort had got me through so much. Not just them, the whole square tree, but especially the cohort. Knowing that I had that Wednesday night almost that I had to show up, that I held on and I prayed to be able to, share with them what was going on or pray, for me. So it's so much more than just a book club. It's just helped so much for me to not, to be able to stand on those books, to be able to look out of my room or out of the hospital room. So being able to meet up with these women made me be able to get out of that area, out of that I am sick. And I think I said the other day, I may be sick, but sick is not who I am.
Oh, that's good. Preach that. That's good.
Yes, anymore. And so it's been just so amazing to just be a part of this. So and yes, I mean, I have literally been being loaded up on the ambulance and telling them, hold on, I'll see you next week.
Wow.
So
Wow. And I love it because your last name is Benefield, and prophetically it went out that you are a benefactor. So your circumstances are not yet lining up with who you're called to be. And yet things are starting to happen in your life that are headed in that direction, even though, here you are on the gurney ready to go to the hospital and you're saying bye to your cohort. You know what I mean? Like in the midst of all of that, God is completely showing up, and it's you're not giving voice to your circumstance, and you're not giving it a seat at the table. And then it's you and God at that table, like we talked about with that picture this week. It's you and God at the table with that microphone, and you tell it what it's going to do. And so I know what you've got some amazing things. So you have a blueberry farm. And so what's been happening there? God's been providing in crazy ways with you with that blueberry farm.
Most definitely. My family owns this blueberry farm, and this land has been under torment for years, for hundreds of years. Worst, I always say, we make the Hatfields and the McCoys just look good. But my family came together several years back and made this blueberry farm. So anyway, God gave me a vision in 2020 that this land is supposed to be a self-help place. Basically, eventually, food, being able to run this camp that is for everything that has tormented my family: abuse, obesity, addiction, everything. This is what this land is supposed to eventually be. I got in this vision in 2020, and I was like, I know you parted me, but you haven't dealt with the Carters. Because we put the Hatfield McCoys to shame. So anyway, unbelievably how, and he gave me this vision to keep me faithful to things that have happened is nothing more, is a miracle from God, because the things that have happened going towards this vision has been just a sin. So just a quick wrap, my aunt had literally sold up the middle of this land, which was the blueberries, in 2018. And I was like, we will never get this back. But we did get it back. And my father and my aunt, my other aunt, bought it. So they bought it in 2019, and we all kind of started working again. But of course, everything kind of fell out. And I was like, okay, well, you got us this far, and here we go. Anyway, a whole bunch of things. But last summer, right after God told me you were supposed to write a children's book, I'm like, yeah, maybe one day. And he was like, no, 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 now, because you have to learn how to heal that inner child before you can help anybody else heal. And I was like, yeah, but how am I going to pay for, even Romap or the Cohort or whatever? Well, we had not sold at the market in a couple of years. I had been so sick, unable to even walk to my mailbox. And then here me and my father, I don't know. Well, I do know where the energy came from. And me and my father don't get along really good, but we ended up selling in the market so much for last summer that I was able to pay for all this stuff. And I was like, whoa, wow, okay. And then all of a sudden after summer was over, I was so sick and unable to hardly go anymore. I'm sorry, I have grandchildren walking in on me. I'm sorry. Walk out for just a minute. So anyway, I'm so sorry about this.
It's all good. It's all good.
Like, but so anyway, just unbelievable how receptive our community was with, and the money was just coming, and it was actually a really good healing process for me and my father too. So anyway, the summer ended, I was so sick, and I was like, my father has just been really ill, and I was like, there's no way we're going to be able to sell any berries this summer. I really want to get my book published. I need this, I need that. There's no way this is going to happen. But then there's God. And so I called the farmer's market and I was like, we to be part of this year, but I can't pick. My father can't pick. We don't know anybody that can pick. And within a week, she calls me back and she says, there's this ministry that we have in Pontotoc. I don't know if you know about it, which is my hometown I live in. That's called, let me try to get through this one Lost Sheep. And they want to come to your land and pick your berries, carry it to the market, and give you half.
Wow.
And you give the other half to this ministry that helps abused women, addiction. And so they're going to be on our property this year, a Christian-based organization. And I don't even have to show up. And there's going to be ministry, and then they want me to start helping them at their ministry, maybe being a house mother. And community has been very hard for me. That's why this cohort has been so wonderful for me, and Square Tree, because I have been basically locked up in my room and unable to drive since 2013. And then there was the internet, Zoom, and he brought it all to me. And so now these women are going to come, not only going to do that, they're going to come and help me get my house straight, back on my feet. And then I'm going to be able to give back to them. Just unbelievable. And they want me to be able to tell their stories. And I'm just beyond what God can do. And I'm so excited. I can't wait. I've been so, they've all getting their books published. Here I am. It's never going to happen, but it is going to happen. And I know it's going to happen this year. The book will be published. I know it. I know without any doubt that it will be published. But I had some testimonies about Square Tree. But before, in 2021, I was supposed to be having a huge surgery on the 29th of 21. And I had joked the whole year, like something is going to happen to me. I don't know if I'm going to die. I'm going to be new in 22. I don't know how. I don't know if that means I'm going to lose my voice or what, but something's going to happen. Well, I had never dreamed that I was going to go into a huge life or death surgery on the 29th. I was supposed to. But there was a blip on my EKG and the anesthesiast didn't want to do it. And there come Square Tree on my Facebook feed on the 1st of January. And that's why I was not supposed to be unconscious and unresponsive, because, and I prayed to God before this feed came across my Facebook, I need community. I need like-minded Christian friends, because is there anybody out there anymore that even believes? And he dropped it right in my lap. And right on the 1st of January. And I thought, oh yeah, this is it, book thing. And can I get testimony real quick about the VIP?
Yeah, go for it. Oh yeah, that was a good story too.
I mean, that's what started the belief for me. So here I am looking at a huge surgery. My husband also looking at a knee replacement. And this
So she's coming back, I hope. It was such a good story. So hopefully she'll be back. Someone actually gifted her the VIP. So Lynn was gifted that VIP when she joined, and that was like her release of faith when somebody gifted her that, and that started the ball rolling. And I think that sometimes it's those little things that just start the ball rolling in this, like we talked about, this revelation of like your eyes are opened, and it just takes this one step of, oh my gosh, God provided, or oh my gosh, God showed up, or something like that just starts that revelation and starts that aha where you can't go back after that. And that seemed to happen for Lynn over and over and over and over again. I think somebody even gifted her like the first month of the Writer's Roadmap too, potentially. So like she was, just the incredible things that have been happening with Lynn have been really amazing. So
I'm back.
She's got a lot of projects too. She's not just having her one children's book, but she's got so many other ideas she's working on that are awesome. So, hey, you're back in.
I'm back. I'm sorry. See, that enemy's trying to cut my voice out, but it didn't happen. But just real quick. So the VIP, they spun for a wheel, for a spot for the VIP, and I got it. But the beautiful of that was the wheel was spun, and Sherry texted me, or maybe told me in one of the meetings, but separate from Amanda, that God had put her name, hit my name on her heart. And here on her on the East Coast, the same thing. And that was, God was like, see, I hear you, and I am listening, and I can make the wheel land on your name. I can do all kinds of things.
yeah, because it was
And so
Amanda.
anyway.
Amanda was the one who said, I think God wants Lynn to win. I'm going to spin the wheel, but I think Lynn's going to win. And then then she spun the wheel, and prophetically you won. So it was like, okay, so here we go. So Lynn, thank you so much for sharing your story. You are next. God is totally showing up in some major, major ways for you. And I am so excited to see how your book's going to turn out and what God's going to do for that. So I love every part of that and what God's going to do. So thank you so much for sharing, Lynn. I appreciate it. All right, Miss MJ. MJ. You want to talk to us about your story? I've got your picture up if you want to see your cute picture.
Yeah,
You want to see your little Amazing.
I know, amazing.
All right, we're going to go look at Amazing. So this is where she's at in the process with her children's book right now.
There's actually a colored one too.
Is there? I haven't seen it. I'll look for it while you talk. But
All right, yeah.
which one did you end up picking, by the way? We want to know.
I actually decided number 3, but she has a little bit of a different body. So this is the way I dealt with this, because this was really hard. Some of you know what I was dealing with. I had my own drawings, and you definitely need to have a professional illustrator if you're going to do an illustrated book. So I looked at it like God was just breathing on this little person that he gave to me, and was bringing her to life. And so she's going to be like a real little girl.
Aw, I
So
love
I
it.
figured if that was the way it was going to be, she needed to have, real legs, real arms. And
Just for the backstory, so originally when you drew it, MJ, you drew it kind of as a stick figure, and you
Yeah.
kind of really were honed in on that because you really wanted
Yes.
that. And then we were saying, no, we really want to build her out and give her some
Yeah.
character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, God's done a lot of, he's so faithful. Whew. Yeah. So the book, actually, I didn't realize it was a book, but over 25 years ago, I was asked by a friend. She was just wanting to have a girls' weekend, and she just asked me because I teach gymnastics, and so I work with little kids. So she just wanted me to do something fun for the girls, and I thought, okay, I don't know, I teach them gymnastics, but I don't think that's going to work. And like 3 o'clock in the morning, the Lord just gave me this idea, and so I thought, we talk about what are our dreams. And so I had this little girl setting where she wanted to be a movie star. She wanted to be a magician. She wanted to be a ballerina. So I got all the props for that, and I gave them out to the ladies. They chose whatever they wanted. So when I did this short little ditty, when I got to their costume or whatever, they had to sort of liven up and be that part. Fast forward 25 plus years later, last year, it was in January, and the Lord just downloaded the story back. And just within 6 hours, I had this story written, and I literally 6 hours. And when I wrote like the last word, I just started crying because I knew that this was God. It wasn't me, it was God. I was just being a vessel. And I'm like, you want to do something with this? Because I had no idea. I thought at first I was going to, put it on Amazon, but I thought that's not, and that was where the pictures came up. And then lo and behold, Square Tree shows up on my Facebook.
We're
And it
stalking
happened to
you. We're
be,
stalking you.
it happened to be a children's workshop. So I'm like, I'm
Awesome.
taking it. I'm taking it. And then it rolled into this cohort group. And one of the things that stuck with me, well, there's a lot of things, but which is amazing because I feel like I can't really remember a lot. But one of the things that I do remember was the money thing. And Sherry shared about the woman that had the oil, and I think she had enough. I think this is the right story. I hope I'm not mixing two
No, I
stories.
think you are. Yeah.
It's the one where she just had enough for her and her son, and she was willing to make her last and die.
Right.
And the Lord spoke to her and told her to go out to the community. Oh, I'm gonna cry now. Go out to the community and get all the pots, bring them into your home. And the oil that she had, she was going to pour it into these pots, and they would continue to pour until she was completely, oh my God, something's happening here, people. Until, I'm sorry, until all of the provision is made for her, because she had debt, because she had lost her husband. And I believe that she honored the Lord, she just served the Lord. And so that's really has stuck with me. And so I'm not like Marlena that got all this wonderful, giftings and everything. And that's okay. I'm not dissing that. I'm not downing it or anything. I'm the beautiful thing about Cohort is that you learn not only writing and receiving editing, because side note, when not Sherry, Melody was editing my story, I was so set with my story. So when she started like giving me things, and I was offended. I was like, what are you talking about? This is my story. The Lord wrote it. So how could you, like,
You can't edit the Lord's download.
right? So, it works on your character, not just your character in your book, but the character in you. So just so many facets. I talk about the diamond, and I just feel like we're all diamonds, and the Lord is just shining through, and he's shining through even those weak moments where they make that cut, that it's just going to shine through and touch out to other people and minister in different ways, because everybody is in a different place, literally and figuratively, so yeah. So I'm so thankful for the cohort. And I can tell you, even probably halfway through, I don't know, have we been together for like a year?
June. It's been June.
So almost a year.
Yeah.
So I would say probably halfway through, I was really ready to give it up. I lost that sensation that and Sherry, you talked about your story with being in the wilderness. That's literally where I came from. Oh, I shouldn't say literally, but that's where I was coming out of. I feel like I met the Lord all over again back in December 21st, 2021, not 21st. And he just showed up really in my living room and just wanted me to be with him. And I know he was there, in the past 12 years before that. And I know that I had him, I spoke of him and all of that, but I think deep down inside my heart was just in a wilderness. And when he showed up, it was like being reborn. And I just got this fire. And, when you offend somebody in that, that you're on the right track, So anyways, yeah. Where do I go from there?
I love your story about the jars though, because one of my things is like the husband got her in trouble and then died. You know what I mean? And he was supposed to be a prophet. And it's like, I don't know why, but I get stuck on that part. It's like he didn't take care of her. And when he died, he left her with a bunch of debt, which could totally preach today with some women that are single moms or widowed or whatever. And yet when she filled up the jars, it wasn't just enough, like it was more than enough to live on. Like, so she paid off all the debt and she had stuff to live on. And one of the things I want to come back to is what Lori said. And I feel that this applies to like you, where it's like, well, I'm not like Marlena and this happened with her, or like Lynn or anybody else. I loved what Lori said this week, because one of the things Lori said was, you're going to ask me how to do it. And, looking for some kind of formula to get into Hollywood. She goes, and I'm going to tell you, there is no formula. I just followed God, and my journey is going to be different than your journey. And I just love that it's so unique and personal to each person.
Yeah.
That your journey is completely different than Marlena's. That's completely different than Lynn's or, Irene's. And it's like, everybody is just totally different, but yet when we come together, we're better together. And we're lifting each other up in more than just the book. And it's that whole thing that we always talk about. It's not just about the book. Like us all coming together is that as one. I mean, we talk about it so much in the church as the body of Christ, and we're one. But this is coming together as one to launch each other. And that's what's been really amazing.
Yeah, he knows our needs, and everybody's needs are different. And what Marlena may need, Lynn might not need. What Lynn might need, Marlena might not need. And same with Irene, even Melody, all of us, we have different needs, and the Lord knows them, thankfully. And what I love about this setup in Square Tree is that we're allowed to go through that process. And we're loved as we are going through that process. That's
Mhm.
sincerely what I feel. Being in that wilderness, my husband and I chose to just step away from the church for a while. And in fact, we were even saying we're not even going to step back into one, but hopefully that's not too much for people. But anyways, I know that the Lord knows our heart, and he's meeting each one of us where we're at.
Yeah.
And the vision that I've gotten plenty of them, but recently, I should say. But one of them was that, the Lord is, the earth is the Lord's footstool. And I feel like the Lord has just taken his feet off the footstool, and he's brought his elbows down onto the footstool, and he's just breathing onto his people.
Mm.
In whatever way of our needs, our heart's desires, or what we as humans are get in the way of, is that we think we need this, or we think we want that. And he's just so gracefully, faithfully just breathing on that area and saying, trust me, fear not, trust me. And I see that in this work. Somebody spoke the other day on one of the breakout rooms, and she said that the thing that got her was the fact that, and I think Sherry, you might have said something about how you put this up on the advertisement, but the fact that you're prophetic and that you honor the Lord first, and that's really what drew this person in. And I just love, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, because that's what we put in front of us when we write, when we talk, when we get into these book challenges. That he's first, and that's what his desire is. And I put a dance out on YouTube. That will be a plug. But I have underneath it, it's for his glory. So side note, just in case people are wondering, I did gymnastics since the age of 7 and taught it since the age of 17, and did it all the way up until probably 12 years ago now. And then just basically went on an all-out sabbatical from it, and my body can feel it. But anyways, I also did dancing, and dancing meaning I took a song and brought a message forth, what I felt was God was ministering through me, and put it out through dance. And some people will be like, oh yeah, that's a good, would you do break dancing or whatever? And it's like, nope, it's just a way that the storyline on a song is being brought forth. I'm interpreting it through what I'm doing. So now that I did that, where was I going with that?
I love it though. But I thank you so much for sharing though, because I think that you just brought so many good points home, and just like we were talking about, that everybody is so unique and so different in what they're bringing to the table, that I love that uniqueness. So I'd love to talk as we close this out. Melody, you're running this little motley crew of children. So I'd love for
Golden Crew.
So I would love for your feedback.
Well, these ladies are just so wonderful, but all of the groups that I run, they all have such uniqueness, and they all bring a chemistry together. And this isn't the only group. You might say, well, how do I get into that group? That's the successful group. All the groups are successful. We could go on to so many groups to tell you they've published or they're in the process, but to be in a group and to encourage one another. Lynn's working on a little devotional called Getting the Fat Girl Over the Wall, but we're all getting one another over the wall, and when we do, I don't know about you, but I feel like I've gotten over the wall just by watching all you guys publishing yours and getting yours forward. I feel like I've published 4 books already. That's the way I feel, and it's genuine. I'm not making that up. I feel like I've succeeded when they're succeeding, and that's what the body of Christ is all about. MJ's saying about church, but we're church right here. Wherever 2 or 3 are gathered, there Jesus is. So, Irene, she's in Canada. We have Marlena, Arkansas. We have all these different, all the way in Maine. We're all over the country, but we're one group, one body, and we're getting each other over that wall to glorify God. And that sums it up to me. And I'm so grateful and excited to be a part of it. I mean, I can't tell you, I never thought I would find something better than teaching little kids, but I feel like, wow, this is even better. It's because I just feel like we're in a time that the world is in such a state that God is using so many of us to do some amazing things. We're, what the Bible says, doing exploits for God. That's where we're at right now. We're in the days of doing those exploits. And this is that army right here. These are the soldiers right here, and I'm excited about it.
I love it. And Yadira says, how are the cohorts formed, and do the cohorts go longer than 60 days? So 60 days in the writer's roadmap, and then we give you 1 month of a free cohort. So you will be put into a cohort at the end of your writer's roadmap. So it's actually a 90-day program. And just to remind you, today is Melody's day, Melody's bonus day. Woohoo! So the first 3 people that sign up today will get a 30-minute editing session with Melody, which we talked about earlier. It's really an hour because she's going to be reviewing it ahead of time and then meet with you for 30 minutes to go over what you submitted, and we'll figure out all the details on how much you can submit and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the first 3 people today to do that. And then anybody that signs up by midnight tonight, you still have the opportunity for the group marketing session with me. Marlena talked about, we're going to be going over that lead generation and how to take people out of Amazon world and out of your book world and put them into your world so that you can communicate to them and have more control over the people in your world. So that is what we will be working on. And then we'd love for you, if you are in the Mississippi area, I know that Melody put a link in the chat. We would love for you to help sponsor Lynn with her blueberry farm. So if anybody is in Mississippi, and what's the city again? Melody?
How do you pronounce that? Potonto? How do you say that, Lynn? Pontotoc.
Pontotoc, Mississippi. Or if you have any friends there to support Lynn, you can always reach out to her or DM her on Facebook and support her, because she is this close, guys, to crossing over and publishing. She is the next one coming over. And at that point, we have had 100% success rate on publishing, which is pretty amazing, guys. So
and you can probably reach out to the ministry. One Lost Sheep would probably have even more info too, if you want to check them out. And JeanMurphyMusic.com for Irene's husband. And it all starts with a drawer on Facebook or on .com with Marlena, and Amazing's Adventures on Instagram. So you can follow Amazing's Adventures there. So I put all that in the Facebook feed. So, hey, come on, visit these gals, support these gals. They're your sisters in the Lord. Come on, people. We need you.
Come on, people. I love it. So we would love to see you on the roadmap. You have until Tuesday night and Cohort closes. And then after that, we'll be archiving the group. Again, we don't know when we're going to do another challenge. We've gotten a lot of downloads from God, and we're kind of pivoting a little bit. So not sure yet what's going to happen. And so now's your chance. Now's the time. Cross that chicken line and go for it. So we love you guys. Thank you, my cute cohort of children's book people. We had such a good time connecting with you guys. So give them some shout out, give them some love on social. So thank you. Until next time, guys. Bye.
Bye. Thank y'all.